It's 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj, read by Sandithavam. The Uma Oya Multipurpose Development Project inaugurated. President Ranil Wickremesinghe expresses gratitude to Iran for assistance in the Uma Oya project. Farmers to get financial subsidy for the paddy cultivation activities in 2024 Yalla season from next week. Former President Maithripala Sirisena prevented from functioning as the SLFP chairman until trial ends. Teacher recruitment interviews from April 29 to May 9th at the Education Ministry. Veerasena Gamage sworn in as a Member of Parliament. News overseas. Airstrikes continue in Gaza and the UN calls for investigations into mass graves. In sports, Suhiru Anthony named captain of Sri Lanka rugby squad. Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe and the Iranian President Dr. Ibrahim Raisi jointly inaugurated the Uma Oya Multipurpose Development Project today. Dr. Raisi arrived in the island nation today morning via the Mattala International Airport, where he was accorded a warm welcome by Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. His visit comes after a special invitation extended by his Sri Lankan counterpart, marking the first visit of an Iranian president to Sri Lanka since former President Dr. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's visit in April 2008. Shortly after his arrival, President Raisi participated in the public ceremony marking the inauguration of the Uma Oya Multipurpose Development Project, which aims to alleviate water scarcity in the southeastern dry region of the country by redirecting an annual average of 145,000 million cubic meters of excess water from the Uma Oya Basin to the Kirindi Oya Basin. Owing to this project, approximately 4,500 hectares of new land and 1,500 hectares of existing agricultural land in the Monoragala district will receive irrigation water, the government said in an earlier statement. Moreover, the areas of Badulla, Monoragala and Hambantota will benefit from 39 million cubic meters of water for drinking and industrial purposes, while generating and adding 290 gigawatts of electrical energy annually to the national grid. President Ranil Wickremesinghe expressed gratitude to Iran for their technical support, emphasizing that without Iran's assistance, Sri Lanka could not have diverted the Uma Oya tributaries into the Kirindi Oya. The president stated this while addressing the gathering after both he and his Iranian counterpart Dr. Ibrahim Raisi jointly inaugurated the Uma Oya Multipurpose Development Project, one of the largest irrigation projects in Sri Lanka following the Mahaveli Development Project. The Colombo District Court has delivered a permanent injunction preventing former President Maithripala Sirisena from functioning as the chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The order was issued with regard to a plaint filed by SLFP Executive Committee member Montague Saratchandra. Accordingly, the permanent injunction will be effective until the conclusion of the trial. This is the second order issued by the Colombo District Court barring Sirisena from functioning as the SLFP chairman. The previous court order was delivered with respect to a case filed by former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The government has decided to provide a financial subsidy to the farmers to use for paddy cultivation in the 2024 Yalla season. In this regard, the cabinet memorandum submitted by the Minister of Agriculture and Plantation Industries, Mahinda Amaravira, was approved by the cabinet last March. Accordingly, arrangements have been made to provide an amount of 15,000 rupees per hectare to the farmers who are cultivating paddy this year as well. It is acceptable to use this money for buying fertilizers or for any other purpose for paddy cultivation. The Minister of Agriculture and Plantation Industries, Mahinda Amaravira, asked the Department of Agrarian Development in this regard, drawing attention to the statements made by some farm organizations that they have not received this money yet. According to this, the cultivation of paddy in the Yalla season has already started, but the Department of Agrarian Development emphasizes that correct information is currently being collected regarding the farmers who are cultivating paddy in the Yalla season. These activities will be completed this week. According to the current information, paddy cultivation has been completed in only 25,000 hectares. But the amount of paddy to be cultivated in the Yalla season is 6 lakhs of hectares. Since fertilizers are applied for paddy cultivation, after paddy cultivation, arrangements have been made to provide this financial subsidy after paddy cultivation. Veerasena Game gave the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramana was sworn in as a Member of Parliament today. He took oaths before Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene soon after the parliamentary proceedings kicked off. Earlier this month, the Election Commission had named Veerasena to fill the parliamentary seat that fell vacant following the demise of SLBC's Anuradhapura District MP H. Nandasena. Nandasena passed away at the age of 69 on the 5th of April due to a sudden illness. Accordingly, Veerasena was next in line on the SLBC list for the Anuradhapura district after securing 38,242 votes upon contesting the 2020 parliamentary elections. He was placed 9th in the preferential votes list. Following Nandasena's demise, the acting Secretary-General of Parliament informed the Election Commission in writing that a seat in the 9th Parliament had become vacant. This notification was made in terms of Section 64(1) of the Parliamentary Elections Act No. 1 of 1981. That concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Interviews for the recruitment of teachers will be conducted between April 29th and May 9th at the Education Ministry in accordance with the results of the competitive examination held on March 2nd. In a statement, the minister said the teacher recruitment of graduates to grades 3 to 1 in national schools for 2023-2024 is for the vacancies available in national schools. They said the competitive examination was held to recruit teachers' services for Sinhala, Tamil and English medium vacancies and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
In Watchlight, the Goal Karapitiya Teaching Hospital unveiled its latest edition of a cutting-edge CT scanner valued at 250 million rupees. The installation ceremony, held today, was spearheaded by the Minister of Health and Industry, Dr. Ramesh Patirana. The state-of-the-art CT scanner, manufactured in Japan, marks a substantial upgrade to the hospital's diagnostic facilities and came to you in Watchlight. Moving on to a bulletin of world news. Making headlines tonight, the US Senate passes bill that could ban TikTok. Solomon Islands pro-China Prime Minister fails to secure majority. Airstrikes continue in Gaza and the UN calls for investigations into mass graves. The US Senate has voted in favor of legislation that could lead to a nationwide ban on the popular video-sharing app TikTok. Lawmakers are worried that the app could pose a security risk. The Senate passed the bill by a bipartisan vote on Tuesday as part of a foreign aid package that includes additional military support for Ukraine. President Joe Biden is expected to sign it into law on Wednesday. The bill, if signed, would ban TikTok if Chinese operator ByteDance does not sell it within 270 days. Biden could extend the deadline another 90 days. Negotiations on forming a coalition government are set to get underway in the Solomon Islands. This comes after last week's general election delivered no clear winner, and the incumbent Prime Minister's ruling party failed to secure an outright majority. The largest election results released on Wednesday show the ruling party, led by Prime Minister Manasseh Sogavare, who has deepened his country's relations with China, won 15 out of 50 seats in the election. The Israeli military continued to carry out intense airstrikes against Hamas in northern Gaza on Tuesday. On that day, Israel told residents in parts of the northern part of Beit Lahia to move to designated zones. The Israeli military posted a message on social media on Tuesday. It said that 4 pockets had crossed from the areas of Beit Lahia. It said jets had struck those areas at nearby targets, including operational tunnel shafts and military structures. Back to the headlines of the world news. The US Senate passes bill that could ban TikTok. The Solomon Islands pro-China Prime Minister fails to secure majority. And airstrikes continue in Gaza, and the UN calls for investigations into mass graves. That concludes this bulletin of world news, and on to development news. Expert committee appointed by the Ministry of Plantations has recommended the lifting of the oil palm ban. The committee has recommended that the planting has to be done in accordance with coconut research guidelines. The removal of the ban will be a progressive approach to sustainable agriculture and economic development, said the Palm Oil Industry Association in Sri Lanka. This committee was appointed by the Ministry of Plantation Industries on a directive of the Cabinet due to a series of representations made by small and medium sector growers and regional plantation companies. That came to you in development news.
Moving on with sports news.
Sri Lanka Rugby has selected Suhiru Anthony from CRNFC to lead the national 15-a-side rugby team in the upcoming Asia Rugby Division 1 tournament. The tournament will feature 4 nations and will take place at the Racecourse Stadium starting on April 29th. Anthony, known for his skills as a lock forward, will receive support from Tharinda Ratwatte of the Kandy Sports Club, who has been named vice captain. Sanath Martis took the helm as the head coach of the Sri Lanka rugby team, backed by assistance from 2 coaches, Nilfa Ibrahim and Dushant Leuke. Ibrahim and Leuke will work as assistants, focusing on coaching alongside Martis. That came to you in sports news. We take a look at business news next.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Pinning another iconic property to the fast-changing Colombo skyline and one of the most anticipated entries to the local hospitality group, ITC Ratnadeepa, a luxury collection hotel based out of India, will open their first hotel in Sri Lanka opposite the Goldface Green on April 25th. ITC Limited is an Indian company headquartered in Kolkata. ITC has a diversified presence across industries such as FMCG hotels, software packaging, paperboards, specialty papers and agri-business. The company has 13 businesses in 5 segments. It exports its products in 90 countries, and this is the first time they've invested outside India for a hotel project of this nature. That's business news, economic news to follow.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. The People's Bank, the leader in digital banking innovation, possessing the largest customer base in Sri Lanka, proudly announced that during the Avrudu season between 1st to 15th April, the bank had facilitated over 17 million transactions valued at more than 568 billion rupees, highlighting its pivotal role in the daily financial activities of the country. Leveraging its extensive network, including 747 branches and service centres, the massively popular digital banking platforms, and over 1,150 ATMs, CDMs and CRMs, the People's Bank has successfully delivered unmatched convenience and accessibility to its customers. That's economic news.
Weather report.
The Met Department says that showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the western, Sabragama, central and northwestern provinces, also in the Galle and Matara districts after 2 p.m. Showers or thundershowers may occur at a few places in the Uva province during the afternoon or night. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in Sabragama, central and Uva provinces during the morning. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damage caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during the thunder showers. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. and further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. And now to conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The Uma Oya Multipurpose Development Project inaugurated. President Ranil Wickremesinghe expresses gratitude to Iran for assistance in the Uma Oya project. Farmers to get financial subsidy for paddy cultivation activities in the 2024 Yalla season from next week. Former President Maithripala Sirisena prevented from functioning as the SLFP chairman until trial ends. The teacher recruitment interviews from April 29 to May 9th at Education Ministry. Veerasena Gamage sworn in as a Member of Parliament. Air strikes continue in Gaza and the UN calls for investigations into mass graves. Suhiro Anthony named captain of the Sri Lanka rugby squad. With that, we conclude tonight's news broadcast, and now it's back to your host, Ramesh Piris, to take you to the end of transmission, keeping you well entertained. All yours, Ramesh.
Thank you, Saunti, and that was Saunti Thavam with the main news bulletin. And have yourself a pleasant evening and have a safe journey back home. You're tuned to Radio Sri Lanka on 97.4 and 97.6 FM island-wide and on the web www.slbc.lk.